Hey, welcome everybody. Just learning how to do YouTube Live. This is my first public live stream. I did a little test last night to see how everything works. So I thought I had set it to go live right at 10 a.m. This is January 1st. Happy New Year, everybody. Just going to do a little review of 2024 and talk about things that we did, things that we learned, and so on and so forth. Was watching another channel last night. Guy by the name of Forrest out in Utah. I believe it's KI7QCF. I believe I got that right. Anyway, I made a few contacts with him a couple of times back and forth. But he did a nice little year-end review video, talked about some of the stuff that he's done. I'm a little bit behind him. He's really put a lot of effort, done a lot of activations, but he also just started into POTA this year, or last year, I should say now. And he's made just tremendous progress. A whole bunch. You can check out his channel, a lot of stuff he done. Really cool video. So that got me to thinking. This was my first year as a CW activator on POTA. This was first year with the YouTube channel. Started in 24. A lot of firsts, a lot of things going on. So thought I'd talk about that a little bit. I may go live later on. The first is also ARRL straight key night. So I may get on there. I might try to get on live and make some contacts, and anybody that'd like to try to work me, that would be fun too. But let me go to the share screen and see if I can remember how to do that. And then I've got some photos that I picked to take a look at. Well, let's see. Bear with me again. This is my very first time. Oh, there we go. Right here at the bottom. All right, so I'm ready to do that. Before I do that, I just want to talk about like the first 3-4 months of 2024. I'm gonna take glasses off when I'm not reading because of the glare off the screen. But the first few months of 2024, I was not even on the air, and I can't really tell you why. It wasn't really like a major event in life or anything that took me off the air. It's just got really busy during the holidays at the end of 23. I had just learned CW, got on the air some, and then, like I said, just got really busy. And I didn't get back on the air. I mean, I checked into the local net on 2 meters a couple of times in early 24, and maybe switch on the HF and made a couple contacts in the first 3 months, but that was about it. Really didn't spend a lot of time on the air, and seemed like when springtime came around and the weather started getting better, I've always loved to operate outdoors and stuff like that, so that kind of got me back into it. So we'll pick up probably the second quarter of 2024, and I'll go to the photos now. Let's see. I am going to share this screen. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see that, but we're starting out in June with the photos I took, but I would say so the first, probably the major event other than just getting back on the air sometime around March, April, May, somewhere in there, getting the interest again. I ended up getting a new antenna for the house here, new base antenna. So I was running the MFJ, I believe it's 2010 is the model number, but it's an off-center fed dipole, 40 through 6 meters, I believe. And that got me on the air the first, I don't know, 1 or 2 years. And it worked fine. It worked well, but I guess the only complaint was didn't do 80 very well. I could I could get it to tune on 80. Fortunately, this radio has a really good tuner, and the SWR was like 8.5 to 1, but my radio would tune it, and people could hear me, but it just it wasn't performing very well. It wasn't made for that either. So I wanted an antenna with a little better performance and something that would work well on 80. There are several nets regionally and statewide. A lot of people locally here get on the Alabama Day Net or the Ole Miss Net, and kind of wanted to be able to do that when I felt like it. So I went with the Palomar Engineer. It's called the Bullet series. So this was a random wire. The one I got is 155 feet. And probably the reason I went with that was a YouTube video that was a presentation with Bob, I believe his name is, kind of the head of Palomar, and he explained the whole reasoning behind what they like about that antenna and versus an end-fed half wave or other antennas, and just listening to all that, I really liked the idea. I did some measuring in our yard, and fortunately we have a lot of good trees, which make it very doable to run an antenna of that length. I'm sitting on about an acre of land here. I'm kind of on the edge of the small town we live in, so it's a dead-end street. In the front of our house, in the backyard, is just a bunch of trees. There's some woods and a creek back there. So a pretty good place, really, for doing this kind of stuff. I bet nobody's going to complain about seeing the wires or bordering someone's property, anything like that. So I got a beautiful pine tree, and there's a video of this. If you're interested in that antenna, just look that up on the channel. But I think I went up about 48 feet. I had a guy from a tree service was doing some work across the street, so I said, hey, when you're done, can you hang this pulley up in the tree right there? And we negotiated a price. It was a pretty good deal. I mean, maybe a little more than I wanted to, but definitely way cheaper than getting someone to make a special trip out there and hung that wire. I think we're up about 48 feet on one end, and then it's 155 feet of wires slopes across the backyard to another tree where it's up maybe 20 feet or so, and then I've got a pulley, and it maybe about this much of the radiating wire hangs down. So it's mostly a sloper, and you can do that in an L configuration or like an inverted L, and it's a very versatile antenna. So so I came down the coax, and then we'll just take a look at a couple of these pictures. Here's it came across the house, and then I got this box right here from my friend Dennis, part of our club here, and he also had this coax switch, which was made for kind of the opposite of what I'm doing. So this right here was coming from the antenna, the feed line choke, which is crucial because you need to be able to choke that off, because this system is actually using the coax as a counterpoise, so they want it to radiate, so you don't have to run a counterpoise separately. You can do that. There's a place to hook that up if you'd like to do that, and you could choke this right at the Valin up there. But this worked out well for me, and being I operate inside the house and like to sit on the back porch, so this right here goes inside my shack in the house, and then I'll hook up a coax from here to my little picnic table or whatever I'm doing outdoors, and I can just switch and run it back to that. So overall, that was a big improvement a big upgrade, and real happy with that antenna so far. And then the next item here, well, we'll go back off the picture. Um, the next thing, let's see, I'm sorry. Yeah, started doing POTA activations again. So sometime in early June, like I said, wanting to get back out on the air. Did some POTA activations with, and my old radio was FT, the Yaesu FT100D, which is an all mode radio. It's similar to like 897, the 857 as far as its capability. It's very compact, so it's probably about the size of a Yaesu 891. Real small radio, and it did okay. I mean, I had it mounted in my vehicle and used it on 2 meters a lot as well. And the all mode radio is kind of a thing that some people really like, some people don't. I mean, it sounds really nice in theory, and I would use it on 2 meters, but then I could go out in the park and just like use the head unit and do Parks on the Air. But what I end up doing a lot of times was bringing it to a picnic table, so I'd be taking it in and out and connecting and disconnecting, and it worked. I mean, it was fine, but I decided that I wanted to go with the dedicated radio for Parks on the Air and portable stuff. So that led me to the K2. So we'll go back to that picture in a minute. Let's go back to screen share. Let's see. All right, I think we got getting this thing figured out. So I got this radio, the K2, sometime, I would say like the middle of June. And what is this thing right here? So the guy who I bought the K2, he sold it with a couple of items. This wasn't one of them, but it was kind of a package deal with the radio and then a 45 watt amplifier. And was there something else? I don't remember. But anyway, I never really used the amplifier, but then he had already had purchased this from another ham down in Naples, Florida, who had home built this. So this right here is it's a power supply. It's got an external speaker and it's a tuner. So it's kind of an all-in-one thing, which is handy for the shack setup because when I'm at home, plug it into here. Like I was just talking about, that Palomar Engineer antenna I got is very good, low SWR in a lot of bands, but there's 2 or 3 that it's up in that 2.5 area where I do need a little bit of a tune to run on those bands. So I use that when I'm operating with the K2. And this was probably one of my first outings with the K2. Just really, really like that radio for Parks on the Air and Field operation. It'll do 10 and up to close to 15 watts on some bands. Most of the time I'm running it at 8 or 9. But there's just some pictures of the setup that I've been running, and logbook pictures. Here's some setups of the van and different parks and stuff. So we'll go to a couple of pictures. Here's just another fairly significant event of 2024 was just my personal discovery of the POTA Performer style antenna. So I'd run a vertical quite a bit with a 17-foot whip, a chameleon whip that I've had just on the ground on a tripod and the window screen, or magic carpet people call it. And I'd done different things with radios, but I ended up finding out about this on YouTube through KB9VBR, and they were just running a single radio, which is what I started doing. And then later on, seeing KJ6ER, his actual plans, which you can find. I believe he's got a Google Drive document running 2 radios. So this was significant for me because fairly quick to set up. You can set that up almost anywhere, and using a counterpoise, and like right here is a fiberglass rod for like an electric fence. But the biggest takeaway from all that was just saw so much more performance. I think it was a combination of going to CW as opposed to voice. CW, you can do more with less wattage, and it's just kind of a different group of people as well. But ever since I started this radio, this antenna, and CW Parks on the Air, never had any problems getting an activation done. I mean, there was a couple of times where I purposely went out in not very good band conditions to test something. I knew it was unlikely and I didn't get enough people, but that was expected. But other than that, it's always done real well. And so this group of pictures, I'll go down to here. I earned the POTA Rover Warthog Award, which is activating 5 POTA entities within 1 UTC day. So this was the first setup I did. There's a couple of places around here where it's a twofer, which is 1 park within another park. So that counts for 2. So technically I didn't go to 6 sites that day, but this was pretty fun. So I set up here. This is Blue Spring Conecuh National Forest, place I go most frequently. I set up there right away in the morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. And I pretty much, once I got 10 or 12 contacts, I shut it down to go to the next one because, just the time factor. I wanted to be able to make all of the stops. So I think all of these pictures are from that first activation. And then this picture here is down in a place called Boggy Hollow, which is down closer to the border of Florida, around Wing, Alabama. That's a picture from there. That's where I was set up. And I was doing a mixture of SSB and CW. First activation was CW. I tried to do this one on SSB only, and we had some little thunder showers popping through and threatening of rain and possibly lightning in the area, so I had to get it done. I did go on to CW and make a few contacts. Got that done. Then we went over here. This was Frank Jackson down in Florala, right on the border. Lake Jackson borders on Florida. Really beautiful place. They got the Spanish moss on the trees and stuff. Here's a couple of the screenshot of the contacts. I guess I don't have any more pictures from that, but in Florala, ran the same antenna. Got that activation just after lunch. The rain had just quit. I mean, you can see the pavement's a little wet. And then we went up to Geneva State Forest, and I think that's another twofer. I think it's also Geneva, maybe wildlife management area. I'm not sure on that, but made a lot of contacts here. That was really good. I think I got a lot of them on 15 meters here. But that was a fun part of the activation. Wrapped up the day, got the 6, and then submitted it. Yeah, and then here list the parks that I went to. So that was a fun day. I think here are some screenshots. That was one of them. I was just showing the maps of the contacts that I made on those activations. This one was fun. I think this that you can't see was Sweden, made on that day. So then that was in June and into July. And then the next highlight we'll take a look at here was the Huntsville Ham Fest. So we went last year, my son and I, and that's where he got some interest in ham radio and just kind of had a lot of fun at the kids' corner over there. And this year was no exception. Enjoyed that too, and he had the goal of taking his test to pass his technician license there, and he was successful. So that was a lot of fun. He still enjoyed. This is a picture of the youth lounge. So they had some robotics. They had a little soldering PCB project and a couple other things. And then I think over here was where you could get on the air. I think this guy had a flex radio and getting kids on the air. So that was fun, but definitely the highlight was him being able to pass his test. Here's a shot on the way out of the Ham Fest. And I'm not sure if this will work, if we're sharing, if this also means that I'm sharing sound, but we'll give this a try. If you don't hear it, you can always find it on the channel. This is him making his first contact on.
Well, good morning, Levi. Sounding good. KO4 AIM. Welcome aboard.
How's it going for you?
For KQD. Good morning, sir. Uh-oh, we doubled up, Sam. Go ahead. You be in second contact, I think. KQ4 KQD. Good morning, sir.
Hi.
KQ4 UUD. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So I hope you heard that. If you didn't, you can sure check out the full video. But that was another highlight. Levi made his first contact. Here's just some more pictures of some other parks on the air. Just really thankful and blessed to have a lot of beautiful places to do activations. And another thing I started this year was antenna building. Built a few antennas. Mostly what I've been building is a vertical, which is basically the same as a photo performer. Instead of having a whip, pull a vertical wire up in a tree and run your counterpoise out. That's worked really well. Really happy with that. You can make one for maybe $20. It weighs less than a pound. Really good antenna. Again, I got some videos on that, and I have made a few for sale. If you really are interested, get a hold of me. But yeah, they work really well. And then maybe I'll just call this scrapbook. Real nice letter I got from a guy who read a post of mine on the QRZ forums. I was just asking some questions about CW and whatnot, and he was just encouraging me to keep going with CW, and he'd read my QRZ page, and glad, he was from the days when you were required to learn CW, and he's glad that I, put in the effort to learn it. Sent me a nice little letter. Always encouraging, you hear the stories about the sad hams and, angry people and whatnot. But there's a lot of good ones out there. 13 Colonies event. This was my first 13 Colonies. I got the clean sweep. I got all of them. I think the only two I didn't get was Great Britain and then maybe William Penn one. I'm not sure. But I do remember working the France station. That was pretty cool. It was kind of a challenge with QRP, but we got it done. All right, so we're here with DJ and your call sign.
Hi, I'm KI4ZER, president of the North Oklahoma Amateur Radio Club.
Yeah, and he was kind enough to let me set up with a table here. So we just wanted to talk about what they got going on at the Ham Fest and their club locally.
Thanks. Hi, we're here in Crestview, Florida. We are the Whiskey 4 Alpha Alpha Zulu Club, and we operate out of the Live Oak Baptist Church at 4565 Live Oak Church Road here in Crestview, Florida. It's a great time. We have a lot of good members, and we have a lot of good staff and volunteers. And what we do every year is we put on our annual Ham Fest. We're at the Crestview Community Center at 1446 Commerce Drive in Crestview, Florida. Always a great place and a good venue. We got 43,000 square foot of usable space here, and we got about 53 vendors signed up to be here, including 3 national vendors. We got ICOM dealer, we got Tower Electronics here, we got Soltac flashlights out here as well as a national vendor, and then we got a bunch of local hams. And when I say local, I mean hams from the surrounding 600-mile area. There's always a big draw. We've got an average attendance about 400 patrons a year. So if you're looking for a ham fest to attend, come on out, come here. We do testing, we do classes, we do all kinds of things. We have a system outside for satellite ARIS communications for a special event station. And we also do education and formal training as far as how to get your amateur radio license and represent the ARL as well.
All right, well, you heard it here. Sure appreciate it. It's always a good time. If you're in the area, you can make the trip. Highly recommend doing it. So. Okay, so that was the Ham Fest down in Crestview, Florida. That was the first one. Kind of went there. Wasn't really expecting. I had a couple of items to sell. I wasn't planning to get a table, but they ended up giving me a table for free. Did a little interview and put it on the channel for that. So that was a fun. Definitely a good group of folks down there in Crestview, Florida, at their club. Next picture is down in Pensacola, Florida. It's Big Lagoon State Park. So 3 of our kids went with on a little camping trip. As you can see, we had kind of a neat little campsite here. I had the mag mount and the antenna here, and then this was my counterpoise. I had set up for 40 meters. Really got amazing results the night before this photo, or maybe it was the night of, I don't remember. But in the evening, I did an activation, one right after another. That went really well. And then we did, got up, cooked breakfast, and then I don't know if I got those pictures, but yeah, there's just one beach picture, but ended up setting up here right at the edge of the water on the beach. I think I tried 15 and 20 meters. I think 15, I don't know if I maybe got one person, but 20 meters did well. But that was kind of fun, set up right by the beach there. That was a neat little place. And then the last few pictures was just testing the antennas that I was telling you about that I have been building. Just a testing day. This is in Opp, Alabama, at the state park. It's called Frank Jackson State Park over in Opp. And here's just another picture of the antenna, how that is set up. So I don't know if you can see it well, but okay, this is just a banana jack, and then one wire goes up in the tree. This is just like a tether rope so that you can put tension on the radio, which slopes down to here. So, some people think, well, you're vertical in the field, you need a mast and you need all this and 4 or 5 radios. And, I could set this up in 5 to 10 minutes and be on the air, and works very well. And the last picture was just another picture from that. Sharing. Let's see, get back to here. So, well, that was the year-end review. So since that time, just thinking through of October, November, and December, I guess the biggest thing would be I ended up finding the key. So this is the Bugali Pearl. that was a big upgrade from what I had been using. As far as the paddle, I had the 3D printed plastic key, which, kept me on there for about a year or so. But a precision key is just so much easier. Helped a lot with confidence, probably for number one, and then helped with skill too, and being able to use this at the house and as well as in the field. This is not a field key per se. It's more of a base station in the shack. It's a heavyweight key, but I do take it out because that's really my only option, is that or the 3D printed key, which I still have and may use at some point if I really wanted something light and I had to carry it a long way and it just became too heavy. I'd leave that one, bring the plastic one with. But that's been a good investment and a good upgrade for sure, was to get a good key. And there's nothing wrong with starting out with something that's affordable and see how you like CW, see how you like the hobby, and see if it's worth spending some pretty good money on a piece of equipment like this. And just another word for anybody who's, whether you're looking at buying a Bengali or a German key, or maybe even some of the Chinese stuff, 2025 could bring some changes in the U.S. as far as imports and tariffs and that kind of thing. So, if you're thinking maybe I'll spend some money on some of that, it might be a good time to do that while there are no tariffs on those things at this point. That could change in the past, and maybe you'll see a 10 to 20% increase in the cost of foreign goods. I won't get into the political discussions of whether you're in favor or not of that. I'm all for made in the USA, but just another thing to think about. So that wraps up. One more thing was Levi, my son, that got licensed in August at the Hamfest. His tech license, he did upgrade to general. That was in November, towards the end of November, I believe. So that was another milestone, and yeah, he did well. He came very close. First time he took the test, he missed by one. He was able to retake, and then he passed with a couple more to spare. So he was very excited about that. We were too, and that's been fun. So he's been able to get on some of the other HF bands he wasn't able to before, and made some good contacts there. So, well, I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, we may get on the air again later on with the straight key night, and then try to make some contacts on the air. I just want to do this year-end review, talk about 2024 and possibly what's to come in 2025 as well. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going to end the stream now. Thanks for watching. It's been yet another Ham Radio video. Have a good day.